Welcome dear students to this presentation on Fieldwork Practicum in Social Work. Fieldwork is an important component of professional training and education in social work. In the BSW program, during the first year, we have certain specific aspects with regard to fieldwork. When you have received the print materials, you have certainly received two important booklets or blocks. One is the program guide. The program guide for the BSW students gives all the important aspects of training and education in social work through distance learning. We have also taken care to include all the necessary guidelines that a student needs to complete successfully the 3-year program in social work. Towards the end of the program guide, we have given the detailed course structure. You will find 3 components within that. One is the foundation courses, some of which you have already started. The second one is a core component on social work, which has got 2 parts. One is the theoretical aspect and the other is a practical component. When you look at that, you will find that we have given almost 50% weightage to the core component of social work exclusively to the practical aspect of this particular program of study. The other booklet which I had mentioned is the Fieldwork Journal. The Fieldwork Journal gives you all the important guidelines of how to go about doing field work. There are various components, various objectives and various activities mentioned in this particular Fieldwork Journal. Therefore, dear students, before you start studying, please read the program guide carefully. You as a distance learner will be having plenty of questions, plenty of problems, but the program guide will definitely help you to solve almost 90% of your problems. The rest of the problems will be taken care of by the study center, the coordinator and the academic counselors who will be there to help you. As far as the fieldwork is concerned, the university has made elaborate arrangement to help you. From the study center, the coordinator will assign you to a fieldwork supervisor who is a qualified professional in social work. So you shall be doing your fieldwork under his or her guidance. In order to help you to go about doing fieldwork, we have prepared 2 programs. In this first part, we shall be discussing about the what, why and how of fieldwork, some of the important components of fieldwork starting with the induction meeting, the orientation visits and various types of other immediate activities that you shall be doing as a beginner in social work education and training. In order to discuss these various aspects, we have with us 2 eminent social work teachers from the Delhi University. We have with us Professor Sanjay Bhatt. He is a senior professor in the Department of Social Work of the Delhi University. We have also with us Mrs. Manjulata Kumar. She is a senior faculty in the B.R. Ambedkar College, which is an affiliated college to the Delhi University, and she had been working in the Department of Social Work. She has over 25 years of experience, and we shall discuss with these 2 professionals about the various aspects and components of fieldwork today in this first part. So to begin with, Professor Bhatt, can you tell our students the concept about social work and what a student of social work is expected in a BSW program, whether fieldwork is an important aspect of the training in social work, whether a bachelor degree program in social work is different from other degrees that are being offered by various universities.
Social work is a new concept as a profession. and social work has been prevalent since time immemorial. These two are different. As a matter of subject taught into the graduates and undergraduate level, social work as a profession has emerged in India from last 60 years. Social work basically aims to help the people individually, in groups, in communities. It helps the people to build their capacities, it reduces their problem, and it works for the social change. As a profession, social work has to be practiced in field, and field work is one of the important component of the social work profession. This course is different than other courses because social work provides you exposure to work with people directly, where in other courses you may not have that opportunity. Here you have to work, you have to read, and you have to practice it consecutively. So, this social work as a profession will give you an opportunity to see the people's problem, learn about their needs, how you can help them, and this is what we call the field work.
Well, sir, you have spoken about the importance of field work. Now, may I ask Mrs. Manjulata Kumar to tell us about what do you mean by field work in social work, and then can a student of BSW manage the program of study in social work without the component of field work? Can you tell us?
We have to say that social work course just cannot be sufficient without field work component, because if it has to be a profession, it has to have theory and plus practice, and for practice we have to go to the field directly. It cannot be done in the classroom. As Professor Bhatt said, that it is to help people, but it is not the same as when you help people in as a social service in national social service schemes or in SUPW in schools you have been doing and helping people. It is not the same, because here you are the focus of attention, you are the person who is learning. You may help people incidentally because you are working through an agency, so you do work to help people, but actually the focus is how much you have learned while you are applying what you have learned in the classroom to the field, the real life situations in the field.
Professor Bhatt, you had been in the field of as a social work educator for over 25 years. Now, from your own experience in the Indian setting, can you tell us about the objectives of field work in social work education?
Field work students has to work with the people, as I told you. Field work is basically heart of the whole social work profession, and its main objective is that a student is sensitized toward the needs of the people, he understands their problem. The fieldwork will provide the opportunities to apply the knowledge which you have learned through your course books in the practice. It will also help you to develop the skills to work with the people, skills to communicate with the people, skills to understand and analyze the situation, and above all it will help you to develop a professional attitude which helps you in solving out the problem of the people, those who are in need of your help. Therefore, the main objective of the fieldwork for BSW student, that they understand and appreciate the nature of social work, the nature of help given under the professional social work by professional social worker, and how they can resolve the problems. Fieldwork is also important in the sense that what we hear we forget, what we learn, what we do we remember, and therefore doing and learning both goes together. Fieldwork is a learning process through which you will develop the knowledge, attitude and skills.
Well, sir, you spoke about the three important elements, that is gaining of knowledge, gaining of skills to work with people in various situations, as well as of gaining professional attitude. Now, in order to achieve these three aspects, we have various components within the Fieldwork Practicum. So, Mrs. Manju, could you please tell us about the various components that we have incorporated into the Fieldwork component for the first year students?
You see, we have different aspects to be covered in fieldwork components. That means we are giving different aspects in which we get the student to be exposed. The first one, of course, is we take the students on orientation visits. They go to different kinds of agencies to get oriented to what kind of work they are doing, how they are doing, what are the kind of people that they are serving. Then they are actually placed in their some agencies where they will be doing concurrent field work. That means they will be going for a specific number of days in the field and working directly with the people. Then we also have to sensitize them as to the kind of assignments they do, the kind of agency client relationships that are prevalent in the service delivery systems. They also learn how do they record and the tasks that they have done, how do they do the recording. They also will be learning how to work as a team member, and they also will be also learning about the social work processes which are part of the different methods of social work which they have to acquire skills in.
Well, as we narrated in the beginning that the university has prepared a program guide as well as a journal for the students to do the field work. We have given all these guidelines within the journal. Is that enough, or how a student will begin his or her field work? Can one go straight away to the field, identify some agency or some particular setting, or how in the distance learning process, in the distance learning mode, a student will be helped to successfully complete the field work process? But
we cannot go directly into the field. We are supposed to go through the academic counselor. In your study center, you have a fieldwork supervisor who will help you to check out the program of your fieldwork. Fieldwork is a very systematic and planned way of intervention. Its purpose is that you learn how to help the people. So, when we say that it is a planned, there are certain activities which has been planned, there are tasks which has been planned. We cannot go directly to the fieldwork unless we are planned. If we do not plan, we will end up where we do not want to go. So, for best learning, it is necessary that we should plan our work, we should go through with the fieldwork journal, and there are certain activities which has been enlisted. In beginning, you have to contact with your fieldwork supervisor. He will let you know how to plan your work, how to plan your fieldwork. He will induct you in the fieldwork system. He will tell you what you are supposed to do there, what you are not supposed to do there, and these don'ts and do's you must keep in your mind. Then with this planning, when you will go in field, you have to have a positive attitude that you are there for learning something. Something is to work with the people, and that is why this field work is a learning process which will go, and this learning will depend on you how you want to learn.
Well, dear students, Professor Bhatt said about the how you will be able to begin your field work with the help of the journal that we have provided, as well as other guidelines which you receive from the study center. Now, initially, as you will find in your journal, the first activity is the induction meeting. Induction meeting is a meeting organized by your fieldwork supervisor in the study center. So, students who are attached with a particular study center will be called by the fieldwork supervisor. You will be given a kind of an initiation ceremony in which you will be told about how to go about doing the field work, about the importance of field work, how you can do various components as well as carry out various activities which are mentioned in our fieldwork journal. Now, the another important aspect of fieldwork is the first initial visits that the students make, what we officially call orientation visits. Professor Bhatt, can you tell our students about the importance of orientation visits and what are the kind of expectations from the students?
As soon as you plan your fieldwork with your academic counselor or your fieldwork supervisor, The orientation visit can be planned once you visit the agency. The agency we call in fieldwork the place where you are supposed to work. The agency is place from the services are offered to the people. You will visit these agencies, you can find out how this agency is functioning, how this program are being delivered, how services are being provided, what are the objectives of the agency. In another sense, you have to develop a spirit of inquiry, you have to observe, you have to develop your observational skills to know more about the agency program, agency structure, what are the agency resources, who are the people they are being benefited by the agency, how this agency takes up the program, whether this is a government agency or agency run by a non-governmental organization. It is a agency which runs the program for the poor people, it may be running a programs for the different categories of people, there can be different kinds of agencies. So, orientation visit will help you to understand the nature of agency, their programs, their schemes, the way they functions, and it will also develop your observational and analytical skills. So, in orientation program we slowly induct you with the field and with the agency where you can appreciate how the agency is functioning. You can also learn to develop the understanding of the programs of welfare programs, developmental programs, services, and this will slowly and slowly you will see that you are able to understand how this professional social worker can play an important role. What is your role there, and with the person with whom you are attached, the agency people, those who are running this agency, the functionaries, they will help you to understand the style of functioning, administrative mechanism, the delivery of services, etc.
Well, students, Professor Bhatt has already explained to you about the importance of orientation visits. Now, in his explanation, he also spoke about the need for placing students in agencies. May I ask Mrs. Kumar to explain to our students about what do you mean by placement when we talk about fieldwork practicum?
Actually, placement is a major component. It's part of the concurrent fieldwork. That means that the students will be spending a chunk of their time in that one particular agency, which is selected keeping the learning needs of the students in mind by the supervisor, and the student will be expected to go for at least 25 days, full days to that agency and work there with the people. Now, part of that placement means that the student will have to learn about that agency, their objectives, the mission, and the kind of programs and the target groups that they are intending to serve. They will also be able to settle there and chalk out a plan of action. That list of assignments will be worked out in consultation with the agency supervisor, who will be a trained social worker working in that agency, and your fieldwork supervisor. And accordingly, you will be then, we will talk about the assignments, tasks later on, but the main purpose of this placement is that you get direct exposure of working with people for a specific period of time.
Mrs. Manju Kumar told us about fieldwork placements, and then in that explanation she also spoke about various assignments. Now, dear students, you should be careful about two different types of assignments. One, we have a set of assignments for your regular theory course, for which we have supplied to you a set of assignment in an assignment booklet. The assignment as far as fieldwork placement is concerned is totally different. You will be assigned certain tasks which you will have to be doing during the entire year of your placement in a particular agency. Now, when you are working with an agency, there are a lot of interpersonal relationship that we need to think about, particularly agency and client relationship. And Professor Bhatt, could you please tell our students about the importance of agency client relationship? What is that concept of agency client relationship?
First, you understand who is a client. In social work profession, client is the person, groups, communities to whom the agency is providing services. I have already told you that agency means a place from where the social work services are being delivered. Now, the relationship between agency and client must be very harmonious, must be very congenial, and you should know how the relationships are being maintained. Now, you cannot observe relationship within a minute, that for that you have to plan, and accordingly if we have to observe the agency client relationship, we have to see how agency are providing services, who are the people to services are being provided, what is the nature of their relationship, how they interact with each other. So, this relationship between agency and client is the main focus of your learning, because sooner you will also be the part of that process, and you have to understand how these services are being given, who are the people, whether they deserve for this, whether they enjoy it, whether these services are according to their needs, what are the resources of agency, what are the benefit components of the agency, what are the limitations of the agency. Now, in a given framework you have to understand their relationship. Another important thing is that relationship is one way through which we provide help to the people, and we have to understand this relationship is very professional in nature. When we say professional relationship, that means we have fixed up certain purposes, certain goals, certain objectives, certain parameters on which this relationship has to build up. Now, in agency client relationship, you must understand that you are not harming the client, you are not offending the client, you are not making any derogatory remarks. These are the don'ts which you should not do in your field work. And this agency client relationship, you have to strengthen it, you have to become part of it, only then you can learn how to help the people.
Well, students, about this agency client relationship, we have already extensively discussed various aspects of that one in the Fieldwork Journal. Please take care to read the Fieldwork Journal before you embark on your fieldwork. Now, another component in fieldwork practicum for the first year student is assignment of task. Now, may I ask Mrs. Kumar to explain to us about what do you mean by assignment of task, what kind of task the students are expected within the agency in the context of social work education.
Like we said earlier that fieldwork is learning by doing. So, it is not just by learning about the agency, learning about the relationship system or service delivery system as Professor Bhatt earlier explained. It is not enough, it is just a beginning part of the entire fieldwork. What is important is now the student has to do something in the fieldwork, and that is why the tasks have to be assigned, they have to be planned, and as I said earlier, they have planned keeping in mind the capability of the students, their learning objectives, the agency, as Ms. Professor Bhatt said, their programs, objectives and the limitations. Keeping all this framework in mind, certain assignments are planned right in the beginning of the session, but it also has to take care of the students learning part, which they have to learn the application of different methods of social work, primarily working with the individuals as we call it social case work, working with groups as social group work, and sometimes taking up assignments, certain activities which are done in the community at large to help the larger groups with which we work. They also have to learn how to plan, execute and evaluate. That is part of the entire assignments pattern.
See, one of the anxieties about the students is that the fieldwork supervisor may place a student in a particular agency, and the student has a task before him that he or she is expected to do certain amount of work within the agency. Now, agency will have its own limitations. Now, where does the student stand between the agency, the task one has to do, and what kind of guidance that the student gets to carry out the kind of work? Will a student get some kind of guidance from the staff within the agency, or the student will have to only depend on the fieldwork supervisor or the academic coordinator or the study center staff? Professor Bhatt, could you please highlight on this? aspect?
Look, fieldwork is a very planned activity. It has 3-4 major elements: agency, student, fieldwork supervisor and clients. Now, a student is supposed to make a balance between all 4 components. He has to look after that is the needs and needs of the clients are met. He has to look after that agency is there to provide the services. The student is learner. He is not directly providing the services, but becoming the part of the agency itself. In case of any problem which he faces, he can consult with the fieldwork supervisor as well as the agency supervisor, the one who will be guiding his fieldwork. So, student should be very cautiously noted that in a fieldwork, the different assignments, assignment means the type of activities, the type of programs they are supposed to take up, and these activities they have to think in the term of how these activities can give them learning, how these activities can help to achieve the agency's objective, how these activities are helping to client. So, all this balance has to be kept by the student.
Well, students, during this presentation we have covered certain important aspects or components of fieldwork. As I said in the beginning, the fieldwork practicum has got 2 parts. In the first part, we have discussed about the kind of strategy that we have adopted for distance learners to complete the fieldwork in social work. I also informed you about 2 important blocks or booklets which we have provided to you. One, the program guide, and the other, the fieldwork journal for the first year students. Within the fieldwork journal, we have given various components and activities that a student is required to do. During the first part of our discussion, we have already discussed in detail about induction meeting, orientation visits, fieldwork placements, assignment of task, as well as agency client relationship. Now, in the second part of the fieldwork practicum, we shall be discussing about the nature of social work process, assignment of administrative task, then about fieldwork instructions, as well as the importance of recording in fieldwork. So, before you begin your fieldwork, please remember to watch both these programs, which will give you a holistic approach about our strategy for fieldwork practicum or the first year students of BSW. Thank you.